Hi, this is Drew here for Clinical Athlete. Today we're going to talk about deadlift regressions. The deadlift is a really important movement because you're always going to have to pick something up off the floor. So it's a fundamental movement in everyday life as part of being a human. And I'm here with Pablo. He's with Supple Performance Therapy, taking part 4 boards today, so he's going to help me out and show some progressions. So our first one is a kneeling hip hinge. So this is our very first step. And I like to use a dowel to cue the athlete so they know that if they end up grabbing the back, they can feel the changes in dowel position on the back. So I like to make sure it's touching the top of the sacrum, the middle of the T-spine, back of the head. And I just cue this athlete, go ahead and bring your butt towards your knees, keep it back straight, come back. So that's our very first step. Very effective for those with tight hamstrings, like I said, or need to be able to dissociate the hips from the low back so they can move independent of each other. If your athlete has cranky knees, make sure you put a pad under there. Our next progression is a simple kettlebell box deadlift. So maybe this person doesn't have quite the awareness to hold a barbell just yet, or they have issues like with their shoulder or some other reason preventing them from holding a barbell. The kettlebell is a great regression to make sure that they're moving in a good position. So stand at the edge of the box. I like to step a little bit forward so the weight is directly under them. When they hinge back, you just pop the hips straight through. Boom. A lot of people are going to cheat and try and use their low back and round. We obviously want to avoid that. It's not great for performance. It may not be good for longevity. Good. And so stepping it up one more time, do the same thing, but with the barbell. Obviously start light and start wherever your athlete is capable of tolerating the load. Similar thing, make sure these knees are coming out just a little bit so that it opens the hips up and they can hinge and squeeze the glutes at the very top. Your head pop forward. And I like to cue the athlete to kind of put the scapulas in their back pocket, or maybe act like they're holding a playing card in their armpit. That way it engages the lat as well. So get that entire posterior chain activation through here. Again, we'll make sure we're using that good bracing pattern instead of hollowing. So be a keg, just like we talked about before. Then our next progression is from the floor with the hex bar. So they stand in the middle here. We'll make sure that they're in a good position when they start. Obviously, you have to work up towards this. And grab here, or they can grab the lower handles if you have a bar that can do so. Keeping the back flat, movement right from the hips, pop it forward, keep that shoulder back, put the scapula in the back pocket, boom. Make sure the athlete breathes. We'll cover that soon. Awesome. Then of course we have deadlifts from the floor. So there are 2 types of deadlifts from the floor. There's sumo deadlift with a very wide stance and hands inside. So I'll show that real quick. That movement kind of favors the adductor compartment. So the adductor group does a little bit more work than a conventional deadlift, which is feet narrow, hands outside, just like that. Now the sumo deadlift is used by many powerlifters in competition. It may not be the best movement for general physical preparedness, or GPP, or for these average populations. So I like to favor the conventional deadlift for people who are not trying to compete in powerlifting, just because I personally believe it's a more fluid movement and more applicable to daily life. So for more information, or to find a healthcare provider near you who knows the world of strength and conditioning, go to clinicalathlete.com. Students, we have a special student rate, and that section is always popping off. So thank you very much.